With the FIFA World Cup scheduled for this winter, the English FA had to make some major scheduling adjustments. That means that after a nail-biting 2022 season, the Premier League is back. Well, it'll get started on August 6th, just about a week earlier than last year. That's one less week you need to wait for your favorite club to return to the field, and one less week of rest for these guys, because they definitely don't get enough rest between club play and international duty. But hey, that's an episode for another day, because today I'll be predicting where each Premier League club will finish in the 2022-2023 season. Before we get started, if you're new here, my name is Brian McDonough and this is State of Soccer. Subscribe and join me for weekly episodes covering the World Cup, Europe's top leagues, and stadium tours. I just got back from a trip to England where I toured Craven Cottage and Loftus Road, and then they found themselves here. And I'll be back in July for more visits. In other words, please like this video and let's get to 1K likes. With that, let's get started. The 2022 season was 38 match days of intensity, heroics, and lots of VAR. The great thing about the Premier League, and not the domestic league where I come from, is that there is such things as promotion and relegation. So when the last whistle blows on May 22nd, these were the final standings. Replacing Burnley, Watford, and Norwich are some familiar faces from the Championship: Fulham, Bournemouth, and Nottingham Forest, who despite their 2 European championships, which is more than Tottenham, Arsenal, and Man City combined, haven't been in the Premier League since 1999. Finishing dead last, 20th in the 2022-2023 season will be AFC Bournemouth. I personally don't see the Cherries staying up next season. Scott Parker did a tremendous job gaining promotion for Bournemouth, but in all reality, their form wasn't good. For Bournemouth, a massive summer transfer window is needed. When it comes to finishing, Bournemouth will rely on Dominic Solanke and Kiefer Moore. He has surprisingly never played in the Premier League, and when it comes to the Cherries midfield, outside of Jefferson Lerma and Philip Billing, there isn't much experience running the show. There are just too many question marks when it comes to this Bournemouth squad, especially defensively in their midfield, one of the most important aspects when it comes to staying in matches against higher quality opponents. Finishing in 19th place will be Southampton Football Club. This one pains me since St. Mary's is such a wonderful venue and the people of Southampton are fantastic. But I just don't see the Saints improving over last year. Only 5 points free of relegation last season, they haven't done much to bolster their attack. Their leading goal scorer last year was James Ward-Prowse with 10 goals, and 6 of those were off free kicks. The 19-year-old Armando Broja had 6, but it is possible that he played his last matches with the Saints, so the issue at striker remains a problem. If Southampton wants to stay up, they are in need of a massive summer transfer window. We are really excited to have Forest in the EPL, but I'm afraid it will only last one season. I just don't see the squad doing better than 18th place in the standings. The reason being that right now, 4 of their starting 11 are on loan at Forest. Jed Spence, Keenan Davis, Philip Zinkernagel, and James Garner are all on loan and made quite the impact this year at Forest, but it's uncertain whether any of these players will remain at Forest. Steve Cook and Jack Colback are the only members of the team with substantial Premier League experience. There are a lot of questions to be answered at City grounds this upcoming season, and if Forest want to compete, they'll need a major transfer window. Just barely escaping relegation will be Fulham Football Club. The Cottagers were the best team in the Championship this past season. Despite a slight slip in their play at the end of the year, Fulham was overall consistently really good. Their attack is of course led by Alexander Mitrovic, who scored an insane 43 goals in 44 matches this past season. A championship record, so yeah, I'll just start there. Mitrovic has tons of Premier League experience. He's in the heart of his prime, and I believe that he'll deliver double-digit goals for Fulham, something he was able to accomplish previously. Outside of Mitrovic, Fulham under Marco Silva held 60.6% of possession and completed on average 450 passes per match. We can expect to see more of the same with Fulham's 4-2-3-1 formation. The one game changer could be their number 10, with Fabio Carvalho leaving Fulham to join Liverpool. Fulham is losing not only a young dynamic midfielder, but also arguably their most potent ingredient. The 19-year-old will be linking up at Liverpool with former Fulham standout Harvey Elliott. In 16th place and making no strides in the standings is Everton Football Club. Yes, Everton was able to survive relegation, but at what cost? The Toffees currently have the 7th highest wage bill in the Premier League at £165 million, and with each place they drop, they forfeit £2.5 million. In reality, they could very easily lose Dominic Calvert-Lewin to the likes of Newcastle or Manchester United, even Richarlison is in talks to potentially walk if he isn't granted what he wants. It boils down to the fact that Frank Lampard is still the manager and the roster isn't going to improve. 16th place is it for the Toffees. In 15th, we will see Leeds United. I believe in Jesse Marsch. Marsch did exactly what he had to do last season, and with players like Brendan Aronson being brought in, Leeds is definitely splashing some cash to stay up in the Premier League. Additionally, there are some rumors that Leeds are looking to bring in a striker to replace Rafinha, who's linked to Barcelona. Players like Takumi Minamino from Liverpool are said to be of major interest. Regardless of who Leeds signed, they have their priorities straight in improving this offseason. Coming in 14th place is Brentford Football Club. Their main priorities this offseason is signing 2 new wingbacks, a new center back, and a second striker. According to Thomas Frank, there aren't many changes that need to be made. Brentford was able to stay 11 points clear of last year's relegation line, and if they're able to sign Christian Eriksen, then I'm pretty confident that Brentford should finish in this similar position. In 13th place is Wolverhampton Wanderers Football Club. The Wolves have been rather quiet this offseason. One player the Wolves can get excited about is the return of Adama Traore after a failed loan attempt at FC Barcelona. He'll be back. This is positive news for the Wolves, but I just don't see them climbing in the standings. In fact, I can see them falling to 13th from their 10th place finish last year. Finishing 12th in the Premier League this upcoming season is Crystal Palace. After a rather promising 2022 Premier League campaign for Patrick Vieira, Palace will find themselves in the same standing for 2023. This past season, the club brought in almost an entirely fresh starting 11 and were able to additionally advance to the semi-finals of the FA Cup for just the 5th time in club history. With a backbone of young talent, I think Crystal Palace can expect more of the same in 2023. Falling just outside of the top 10 after an 8th place finish in 2022 is Leicester City. Leicester will struggle in 2023. The squad was slightly disappointing in 2022, and Brendan Rodgers has already made it clear that he's going to refresh the roster by bringing 5 to 6 new faces. Change could be good for the Foxes. Names such as Ryan Kent from Rangers, Harry Winks, John McGinn are rumored to make their way to King Power Stadium. But will they be capable of stopping an almost certain slide in the standings? Coming in 10th place is Newcastle United. There is still a lot of excitement brewing around Newcastle this offseason. Well, to be fair, Newcastle's place in the standing doesn't entirely reflect just how good they were during the second half of last season. That being said, Coach Eddie Howe has no intentions of letting this offseason go without splashing some cash. And new sporting director Dan Ashworth has acquired multiple targets prior to the start of the season. They're intending to overhaul just about half of the squad. One thing we know is the Magpies will be captained by Kieran Trippier. In 9th place will be Brighton and Hove Albion. Brighton isn't going anywhere in 2023. In fact, they're going to finish the exact same place as last season. Despite finishing with a negative goal differential, Brighton was able to crack the top 10, their best finish in Premier League history. Graham Potter's side is looking for more attacking players. The number 1 name on their list is the Paraguayan wonder kid Julio Enciso. This sounds all good so far, but after last season, there are multiple players who are bound to leave the Amex. So why are they still finishing in the top 10? The reason is that I believe in Graham Potter and the ability of Brighton to bring valued players in. With their worst finish since the 88-89 season, we'll see Manchester United drop to 8th place in the Premier League. Don't get too upset, United fans, because when you hit rock bottom, all you can really do is go up, and this season will definitely be rock bottom for United. The Red Devils are just completely out of sorts. With the recent hiring of Erik ten Hag, they're hoping to bring in a manager to elevate them to the next level, but I just don't see it happening this season. There was too much on the prospects of rebuilding and not curating the best team for it this season. We already know that the longtime United players like Jesse Lingard, Juan Mata, Paul Pogba, Edison Cavani, and Nemanja Matic will be leaving United this summer. The midfield is obviously a major area of focus for United, as well as a second center forward to surround Ronaldo. Improving leaps and bounds from 2022 will be Aston Villa in 2023. I'm projecting the Birmingham Giants to finish in 7th place. The reason I'm so high on Aston Villa is due to some of the moves the club's been making this summer already. It's apparent that under Gerrard their priorities are straight. This summer alone they have already brought in Boubacar Kamara, which was a massive addition to their midfield. The Villains also have brought in veteran center back Diego Carlos from Sevilla to bolster their back line. All that being said, they've retained Coutinho, who had a renaissance last season with Villa, and they have their eyes set on Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Something special is brewing at Villa Park. Dropping to 6th place in the standings is Chelsea Football Club. Hats off to Thomas Tuchel for dealing with a lot of turmoil at Chelsea this past season. Despite their ownership changing hands, Tuchel was able to edge out Tottenham and finish in 3rd behind Liverpool and Man City. All that being said, I feel that things won't go as well this year at Stamford Bridge. Their new owner, Todd Bowley, has not committed to spending nearly enough money as Tuchel would like, and the Blues have already lost key players in Antonio Rudiger and Andreas Christensen. I'm also afraid that if Tuchel doesn't get results early, that the Boli ownership group will make a stand and part ways with Tuchel. Sitting just outside Champions League position this upcoming season in 5th place is Tottenham Hotspur. Despite their finish, the rumors are flying already at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. From an outsider looking in, it appears that the Spurs are going to spend some big cash this summer. Tottenham's majority shareholder has allegedly pumped in an extra £150 million into the club this offseason. Until Ndombele is sold to another club, the Spurs won't be able to sign any real difference makers, which is why they're finishing 5th in my preseason rankings. Now we reach the coveted Champions League table positions, where we'll cap off the top 4 countdown with no other than West Ham United. West Ham is going to have a massive season. Despite losing Andrei Yarmolenko and defender Ryan Fredericks, the Hammers are already rumored to bring in some top talent to compete. One of these players who is likely to sign with West Ham is Ismaila Sarr. Sarr most recently played for Watford and is looking to make a change now that they got relegated to the Championship, and it's believed that West Ham will be the Senegalese star's new home. David Moyes is confident that Sarr will be the perfect replacement for Yarmolenko. Pair him up with Mikel Antonio, and West Ham is going to be a problem this season. Despite falling short in securing a Champions League spot in 2022, this season the Gunners will keep pushing. I fully expect the Mikel Arteta project to bear some fruit this season. With the culture changing in the dressing room, the staff, fans, and clubs seem to be on the same page with Arteta. Arsenal had a solid transfer window last season and a quiet winter window, which might have cost them a top 4 finish, but this could play in Arsenal's favor. The Europa League schedule prioritizes league play, and this added focus will help Arsenal surprise the Premiership, finishing 3rd. Not to mention the young guns of Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Martinelli, Emil Smith-Rowe, and Martin Odegaard are positioned to further solidify their place as Europe's best young core. These young stars will further be supported if Arsenal is able to bring in a stud winger or striker like Gabriel Jesus and a solid 8 like Yuri Tielemans. You already know where this is going, but for the 2nd straight season, Liverpool Football Club will finish 2nd in the Premier League. So far, the Reds have made some promising moves, the first being the signing of their £100 million man Darwin Nunez from Benfica. The 22-year-old Uruguayan striker was prolific last season in Liga Portugal, scoring 26 goals in 28 matches for the Eagles, and looks to be a solid replacement for Sadio Mane. The Reds did come extremely close last season to winning the quadruple, and you know that Klopp firmly believes they could still top the league. Leave it to Jurgen Klopp to find a way to take home the title in 2023. Highly improbable, but I wouldn't count out Liverpool quite yet. Of course, that's only if Manchester City slips up, and that would be tough to do given their recent reinforcements. Given Man City's run of form last season, and the fact that they're retaining the majority of their key players, I see City potentially running away with the title this season. One major departure this season for Man City was their captain Fernandinho, but City has a plan. Currently, Pep Guardiola is looking to lure Calvin Phillips away from Leeds United for upwards of £60 million. Guardiola loves Phillips' dynamic ability to play both the number 6 and number 8 roles. Erling is arguably the most prolific scorer in the world, and he's only 21 years old. The Norwegian superstar will be joining a supporting cast of Premier League champions, and Pep Guardiola has the ability to create cohesion rather quickly. So that does it with my predictions for the upcoming Premier League season. If you enjoyed this episode, then make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to State of Soccer, and with that, let the games begin. And best of luck to you and your club this season. Fingers crossed that this video holds up well, which it most certainly will not. And with that, I'll see you in the next episode.